I don't know. Oh,
All
sorry.
right, we're gonna go live.
Okay.
I'm just like laughing because we're ready, but yeah, we got little details. So if you're catching the details at the beginning of this video, it's life. We be lifing up here in San Miguel. Cheerios. Yeah, anyway, welcome back to my channel. I am Michelle Wedderburn for Casa Elm and Hacienda Elm in San Miguel de Allende. Both of those are my businesses. Casa Elm is a boutique guest house where we help people relocate to San Miguel mostly. We give them lots of information that helps them have a soft landing experience. That is my tagline. I love that people use this as well. I've heard it around Mexico and other places, and I really, really think that if you are in the business of assisting people to move abroad, that you are creating soft landing experiences for them as well. And that's what we specialize in. That's what I've been doing for over 5 years, actually, started online, et cetera, et cetera. And now I also have Hacienda Elm, which is a 60 plus community. We are filling those spaces. So if that is something that you are interested in, I will definitely put some info in the chat for you. But I'm very excited to talk to Apryl tonight, our guest, and continue the series that we started last week, talking about really challenging things that have happened in regard to renting, in regard to buying. So April's going to be candid with us tonight because she's got stuff to tell. And I have to just say this, Apryl, because you kind of gave me a little bit, like when I came back from my trip, and I really didn't know what was going on. I definitely wasn't like, okay, tell me the whole skinny scoop and tea. Let me get my wine and let's sit and chat. It was kind of me stopping by, and I know that you had a lot on your plate, and I'm so, so grateful that, one, you're sharing your story, because I think it's important, once again, for us to be candid about experiences that are really way out there, right? I
Yeah.
don't know if we're always ready for like these types of things, these types of challenges, but we want to keep it real. We love living here. We love the city. We love what it gives us and all the things, but we also have challenges as well. So I wanted to make sure that we covered some of those things. Next week, my goal is to talk about dating
Oh,
in San Miguel. So we might have
what
something to say
dating?
to that part. I know it's like I have nothing to say when it comes to dating. That's it, okay? But there are people who are doing it, and hopefully we can get some folks to come on and talk about those experiences, maybe over a 1 or 2 part series. And if more candid stories come up for moving, renting, and things like that, I've had several people approach me. I will certainly share that here. So I just want to say thank you for, agreeing to come on and to share your story, because I don't really know the full details. And so I'm also going to be kind of hearing more about your situation, and hopefully it helps someone in the future with preparing. And I know that you were very prepared. So please share that as well, because I think it's super important that people have that kind of legal insight as well. That's super important. But before we get into all of that, again, Casa Elm, Hacienda Elm, located in San Miguel. If this is your first time visiting us here on the channel, on the live, or watching the replay, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and make sure you like this video if this information was for you, and share. Make sure you share. Feel free to comment. For those in the live, I'll get to you in the chat. I will get to you in a moment. But I want to make sure that I jump in and say thank you to Michelle Watson for always being a tea sponsor here at Ingenuity. She's already in the chat. So hey, bienvenidos, buenas noches. And this is her link, Ingenuity and Spice Company. She is located in the US and ships within the United States, and this is her website. You can find all her delicious teas there.
So good. I've ordered.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was drinking my last little bit this week. So when I'm back in the States, I
I
need to order some
know.
more.
I know. I need some certain
Yeah.
flavors too.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get to that. I wanted to say too that Black Blossom is back. We finally got our dates together, and that will be happening. This is going to be with Tracy Collins, my co-host. We did it this year. This is the new update for 2026. It will be March 16th through the 22nd. And this is the link for all the details. If that's of interest to you, please check it out. Make sure you read it and that you fit the criterias that are there. And I also wanted to add to that, tomorrow we're going to do a live as well on Tracy's channel, just kind of talking again about the retreat. And this is the link, tomorrow at noon Mountain Time. So that's noon our time, which is going to be 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's usually the base for people to figure out what time they should log on. Other things, Hacienda Elm, we have our Try It On program. We actually have several people coming. I'm so excited. Please feel free to check us out, and the dates and the cost and all the things that are included at this link, you can find that there. We also have, we have so many cool things. We also have our relocation tour, just one space left for November. That's the last one of the year. So that link is also there in the chat. And Dia de los Muertos, we have day passes. If you are in San Miguel, you can certainly join us with this day pass. You can find that at that link. And Thanksgiving getaway for anyone that wants to get away for the whole week of Thanksgiving. This is something I did last year. We sold out. It includes the brunch that we're having on Sunday. I'm going to drop the brunch link, which is completely separate, but if you're here, you're able to join in on the brunch aspect and then stay for the week, which we have a bunch of other things that are happening during the week. And Thanksgiving Day, I will cook for my guest only. That's it. I'm saying it because we have the brunch on Sunday, which is for people to come, and it's going to be beautiful. Danielle's going to sing. We have a guest singer as well, and it was lovely last year. So if you are in town and you want to hang out, it's November 23rd. I'm going to drop that in a moment. November 23rd, it's a Sunday. We have a whole Roots and Rhythm menu. It's all Jamaican.
Nice.
I'm going to be making all kinds of cool things. And that's November 23rd. And if you're here for the whole Thanksgiving week, yes, we are having dinner for the guest because it's a lot to cook 2 big things in 1 week. And I get all into it, so I know that it will be quite a bit for me to manage. So that event is open to everyone, and this is the link. And I will say that we only have 7 spaces left out of 20. So we sold quite a few in the last 2 weeks or so. And then the last thing is our October meetup, and then we're going to get into our topic. And that's happening October 16th through 20, and yada, yada, yada. Okay? So let's get into the good stuff. First of all, Apryl is amazing. I have known her since she came with Iona, who's in the chat. Yeah, she's in the chat. I'm going to go back and say hi to everyone in a moment, to my Peace Not Pieces retreat. And I know that you guys clicked, and it's been really a lovely thing, just kind of seeing, budding friendships and things like that. And also doing things after the retreat. I always love when people come back to San Miguel and experience it more than once and again, or they want to come back. So it's really beautiful to kind of experience that from my perspective, but also to kind of be able to share joint things. And I know that she's also going to be here for October. So I'm very excited to see her again.
She'll be here.
Second time this year. Yay.
Stay in, yeah.
Hi.
In her bedroom.
That's right. I know. I heard.
Yeah.
I was like,
she has her own room.
I love it. I love it. Iona's room. So it's really, really lovely to have you here on my channel again, because you've been on here before, but this time we're going to talk about some things that are more challenging, have been more challenging, and all the candidness. And you can tell us about your business, what you do, whatever you feel like sharing, how your life is in San Miguel in general. I know there's challenging things, but just in general, I know that you're pursuing things that you wanted to based on the description. If you all need more info about Apryl as well, you can look in the description of this particular video and you can see more about her. But tell us about yourself.
Yeah,
Welcome.
so first of all, I'm glad to be here. And it is so amazing, like what what a difference a year makes even, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, came to Peace Not Pieces in April of 24. And it changed my life. As I've mentioned to you before, Casa Elm is a very special place. And I say it's like a hug to my soul. And it's a core memory. Like meeting you, staying in Casa Elm is a core memory, and not just because of, as you mentioned, the friendships that I've made since then, and even with us becoming friends and experience in San Miguel. But it's also when I was there, I decided like, oh, I'm gonna get a, I'm gonna get a house, which we can get into. But yeah, essentially, I am a former overworker, workaholic, people pleaser, living a life that was based on other people's expectations, left corporate, was on my own for a while, hung my own shingle, as they say, went back to corporate,
Yeah.
and just experienced a lot of growth in that past year. And honestly, I love my life. I It's something that I never could have imagined. It exceeds anything that my brain would have been able to just, ugh. And the fact that, in 6 months, I've been traveling to dance intensives, as I mentioned to you.
I love
I'm
it.
in Cuba in mid-December for a full week for a dance intensive. I'm back there in February for a dance intensive. I'm in Medellin, Colombia for another one. I'll
Nice.
be there for at least 2 weeks. And then I want to go and do another one in Barcelona, Spain. So
Ooh, are
that's
you doing it
something.
with Tara?
So I'm going with Tara in February to that
Okay.
trip. It'll be, I believe, 10 days, and we can
Okay.
just, pay for extra lesson. But it's like hours of dancing and learning. And I've been working with her husband and also her now that I've got a lot of the footwork down with Cuban salsa and also like some of the other Afro-Cuban dances. Like when I go to Colombia, I'm going to be doing bachata and cumbia because that's where it started. And it's like
Right.
Afro, just like these drums. It's not like the cumbia that we hear here that's like sounds like horses,
Right. Right.
like it's not
Right.
like that. Yeah, so but even through dance, I've always been able to dance. I've always had rhythm, but this is things that they have like a meaning to it. Like
Right.
some of the Afro-Cuban dances are associated with religion, like so, like it was a religious dance, but they had to do it as secular and pretend it was basically theater because the colonizers, were like pagan witchcraft, things like that. So
Right.
just learning, also learning more about cultures where things originate, and that has in turn helped me learn, even though I have no idea like where exactly the ancestors on my father's side are from. It does help me to like touch something that it's beautiful, and I've also
It's
experienced that
spiritual.
here. Yeah, and the first time I felt it, what is that called, Michelle, when I believe it's like the end of the year or beginning of the next year, and all of the just different tribes come through and they do their dances, and it's like they're pretending to have battles, and I believe it lasts for 24 hours.
Oh, I
Like
don't
we're
know.
there. Yeah, you put a post, I remember, on Facebook. I forget what it's called, and
Was
it might,
it related to
yeah, it
Mexico?
was in San Miguel.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's like a Mayan where
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
they almost look like Mardi Gras. It reminded me so much of like Mardi Gras Indians with just the
Okay.
pageantry. And I heard those drums, and even now I got goosebumps. I was like, I heard it before I saw it, and it's like my brain could not catch up to what I was seeing and feeling. And I just like
Yeah.
burst into tears. Like that was all I could do was just like burst into tears. And I'm like,
Yeah.
these people here, they have been doing this for generations upon generations upon generations.
Right.
And, it just really set me on a path to not only do things that I'm curious about, things that I wanted to do, but also to do a deeper dive and see
Right.
a lot of these things have like African connections. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that's what I do. I spend my days luxuriating.
I'm not mad at you. You can luxuriate
And for
all you
me,
want.
for me, luxuriating is like the luxury to do, I can take a
Things you
walk.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can, like I'm making a hat like from Bolivian wool. The man is coming from like 5 hours away. It's going to be a small group of us, and we're
Nice.
making our hats. We're going to shape it, fix it, put any of the like decorations on there, and just like listen to someone talk about the history of his family, his lineage, how they make these hats. Like, just I'm
Okay.
so excited. Like, so that's what
That
I'm saying.
sounds
Like
so
that,
cool.
that is the luxury, and I do it without feeling bad, without feeling guilty. Every now and again, it's a little weird because I'm like, this is my life.
Yeah,
What?
I know. I know. I know. And so, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, bringing the clear balance to things. And so I always preface the times when I'm kind of talking about things that are heavier with it's still an amazing place. They haven't changed anything, well, for me, it hasn't changed anything about wanting to live here. It's
Yeah.
just kind of like, you need to know that life happens here too. And sometimes it can be more difficult and complicated because of the language, the lack of understanding, things that sometimes people get away with, and just the lack of knowing, all the things. So, but at the same time, when I think about it, and I was saying this, I think yesterday I had an interview with Charlotte in Panama,
Nice.
Charlotte Van
Ah,
Horn.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
I
she's so much
said what
fun.
I said. Yeah.
I know, girl, she is so funny. I was cracking. I mean, we were on we talked and we did her video recording, and then we were like still talking for a while. But I was saying to her how I always enjoy coming back to Mexico. I always really enjoy coming back when I travel. I never feel like dread to come back like I used to feel when I would have to go back to the US. Clearly, circumstances were very different because I remember dreading going back to my corporate job and having 1 week off or week and a half, and then flying in just being like, gotta go to work. I don't feel that way at all. Like, I really love, like you said, the freedom to flow and to do the things that we want to do, luxuriating.
Yeah.
Luxuriating.
And you know what, really quick before we move on,
Yes.
when you talk about like the dread of going back to the States, I felt that way. I would say for the first like couple times that I went back, but living here, I'm so social. I do things like by myself. I do things like I meet, I did a Afro-Cuban, there's a Nigerian, but from Cuba, that they play percussion and they dance for like each of the deities. And they were in Mexico City, so an organization had them, had the opportunity to have them come and perform here. So they did a workshop, and instead of me being like, like I'm here, let me focus, right? People started talking to me. I didn't necessarily like talk back because, unless I'm vibing, I would just be very quiet. But a woman said like, oh, we should, meet up for coffee or something like that. And I said, okay, well, let's exchange numbers and let's like nail something down because I'm very busy. I didn't say that part,
Yeah.
but I'm busy. I have a life. So, but before I would have been like, okay, yeah, sure. And we ended up going to dance. She's going to be one of the people that are going on that first dance intensive. And just like, because I'm so social, when I go back to the States, I have begun going places by myself again, meeting, new friends, reconnecting with old ones, rediscovering the city of Phoenix because a lot has changed since, pre-COVID when I was out, starting to rebuild my social life then. But this version of me is everywhere I go because it's
Right.
me. And
Right.
so,
Exactly.
yeah, and that is something that I learned here in San Miguel. And I know that a lot of people because I've heard it, say like, oh, I can't stand going back, or it makes me upset, or things like that. And I don't ever want to take away from how anyone else feels, but I do think it's important for people to see someone who has lived abroad, who has, done certain work, had different self-discoveries and different adventures, that going back to the States no longer gives me that feeling. Like this version of
Right.
me goes back to the States. And I just am, because I was able to connect with my intuition here, learn to trust myself again, the things that, and this, we've talked about it. And this is a
Yeah.
story of a lot of men and women who come to San Miguel. Like, I don't know
Right.
about these other
Or
places.
even
Okay, throughout
Mexico.
the world.
No, I
Yeah.
think it depends. I think
Yeah, well,
people who move to Mexico, well, we say San Miguel because we love San Miguel, but
yes.
I think people, when they move abroad, that
Yeah.
you are stretching yourself, right? You are in so many ways, and you're stretching who you are as a person. And even if you complain about your experiences, maybe initially, sometimes if you end up leaving, I know that there are folks who've left and they end up coming back because it's sort of like light bulbs happen.
Yeah.
Things, onion layers got,
Yeah.
peeled away from their experiences and things like that. I fortunately had that earlier on in my life, and then yes, we're going to get into the topic. I had that earlier on in my life when so in my interview with Charlotte yesterday, which was really interesting because I never really thought about this, she said, well, your parents are from Jamaica, and had you visited Jamaica as a child? And I said no, when I was very little, and then I didn't go back until I was like in my early 20s. And she was kind of thinking, oh, that's interesting that like they did all these other things, but we didn't connect with where we came from. And I said, yeah, that's one of the things that I would say if I could go back in time and regain. But I feel that we maybe in that generation, those generations, they didn't have the same things. They were very proud about going to the United States, the golden opportunities, the
Yeah.
land of milk and honey.
Yeah.
Honey, literally, that's what Jamaicans used to say. And in saying all of that, when I visited in my early 20s, I remember I felt very inconvenienced about a lot of things because I was new to travel. I was just kind of like, I had gone to Canada and maybe parts of the US and things like that. But here we are, we're in Jamaica, and there's like, cow wandering down the street. And, this a lot is hot. There's no AC in some of the places and all the things, whatever, whatever. The point is fast forward to when I got on the plane and went home, it just kind of it hit me like bulbs came on, and I was just like, oh my God, like that's where my parents grew up, and it's a beautiful country. And yeah, like all the things, it's sort of like I started really appreciating where I was, that they got us there. But I also kind of appreciated that, oh, I had this experience and they came from somewhere else that I could learn about. So anyway, we could go on and on about that, but we're going to get into our topic. Okay, so tonight is all about, again, renting, buying in April's case, and you can share what you feel most comfortable with and just kind of your story. I don't really have a lot of questions for you because I don't know the full story, and I'm kind of going to learn it with everyone else, but feel free to share what you want. And yeah, as questions that potentially come up, then we'll talk about it, and I will get to all. Let me just say hey to people
Okay.
in the chat real quick. Hi, Son. Welcome back. Hi, Diane. Hi, welcome back. Of course, Iona, we love you. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Michelle again. Khadijah. Jaya. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Welcome. And Yvette. And I think that's all we have that made comments. Now, I will say, I hope I'm saying your name right, Jaya, said, whatever country you move to, you have to think about the future as far as dating. We're not talking about dating tonight, but because we were talking about it, make sure you like dating the kind of men that is in this particular country, and because not all countries have black men living there. We know that. I know that. I'm not trying to say I need to date a black man.
Yeah.
But I think for people who might be online looking, that it's probably going to be more Mexicans and locals, or maybe some foreigners. I don't really know, but I think yes, of course, if you live in a foreign country, you have to be open. to dating those men if you're online in that foreign country, because that's going to be the majority.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
tonight we're not talking about that. We are going to talk about this. So I'll just let you tell the story. You tell us what you want. I'm here to drink and listen.
Okay, hold on. Let me get some of this mescalarita that I made at home. That's one thing too. I cannot
Mescaline.
drink back in the States. It has to be like a craft bar because I'm like, what is this? What is this tequila? Jose Cuervo? What is this? Okay,
Right? Who is that?
yeah.
Hilarious.
Okay, so as I mentioned before, I came there to the Peace Not Pieces retreat. Michelle, you had like the resources, were able to hook me up with a realtor. And I'm like, this place is very special. I'm not an impulsive person by nature. It may from the outside looking in, like, oh, that happened so fast. But I have owned numerous houses. And so I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I know what's a good deal, what potentially, could be a good investment. And the house that I ended up, I was planning on renting it. It was for rent. I found out that it was available for sale. And I said, okay, well, I'm interested. Let's talk about it. As you mentioned, I was extremely prepared. I had things covered both stateside in the United States with attorneys. I had things covered in here with a notary, which is, like the attorneys here. I had, and the way I explain it to people is like, just say that you're in the Bahamas or something, and they're like, oh, Marriott, you can have this timeshare and this, that, and the other. So you are signing an agreement, or let's just even say you're in Florida and they're talking about the Bahamas. So you are purchasing a property that is offshore, so different from your country where you reside in, right? So in this case, purchasing a property in San Miguel, I live, in Phoenix, right? So had everything covered. My attorneys, her attorneys had the money put into Wells Fargo. So have all of the things stateside, have everything covered here, sign the papers. There's no liens, there's no claims, there's no anything. So I am going into this thinking that, okay, I'm prepared. Money changed hands. I was minding my own business. Okay, so about this time last year, because, here's another thing too. You have to register the property. Instead of like in the States, it's usually with your county assessor. Here, it's with the federal government. So you register your house, you get the deed. They said it can take up to 6 months. There was like, a backlog. Okay, that's fine. And my attorney here in Mexico City would check periodically. So about this time last year, it was brought to my attention that the home, I was not going to get a deed because the home was not deeded to the previous owner. And and the backstory that I ended up finding out is that property was previously abandoned. So here in Mexico, they have programs to help you, but essentially you are trying to track down. So just say that Casa Elm, you own it 50 years from now, it's, dilapidated, it's overgrown, they can't find you, they can't find Micah, they can't find any grandchildren, whatever. Then there's programs that the feds have to be able to help you do all the research, make sure the papers are filled out, and you can take possession of that home. The previous owner, and I still call her the owner because we did there was a sale of a home.
Right.
But the previous owner did that program, and there were some other criteria that she needed to meet. Again, this house was going for rent, and I don't believe that she was like trying to be shady or anything. I believe that she said, okay, I'm going to rent this house to give me time to get everything filled out and filed, right? But then to be able to buy the home, well, instead of, and this me talking as her, so instead of me having to fix everything, and it's not in my name anyway, the process is still, in flux. I'll just have, this
and
is
just
again,
pass it on.
yeah, she'll just have to do it because, it's not in anyone's name right now. We're still going through the process. So,
But
oh, go ahead.
question before did she tell you this? Any of
No.
this?
And I
Okay.
don't, and that's why I say, like, I don't feel that she was trying to be shady. I honestly don't. I know, like, when people are trying to be shady, they, the money was running out, as you know, happens here. And she had an opportunity to offload it. And then I would, in theory, just pick up once the house is finished, get it transferred into my name because all of the forms had been signed off, all of the research and due diligence had been completed, and she was, in that federal program. So that's really what I think. Is she said, okay, well, since nothing has really happened yet besides, we got to go ahead to file these things, she can just file it on her end. But that's not how it works.
Okay. Okay.
Because money changed hands. Also, hold on, I was about to lean in because you know how I do. I start like talking low,
That's okay.
even though it's just me here. That's like an involuntary response. Also, she did not. Okay, so back it up. They tried to, with the attorneys and everything, and there was no like, what? Oh no, that's not our problem. It's yours now. You unlock. It was nothing like that. But there was a lot of discovery that went in, like into this process, including the fact that she never paid the 25% capital gains tax to the Fed, like to
The government.
the federal government here, yeah, in Mexico. Also, there were some things that, like with the pool and with some of the grading that, she was advised she needed to do, but because she didn't finish building the house, most of it was done. A lot of like the marble and all that stuff was ordered. The cabinets were hand built. So, there's like a gazillion in that house. So a lot of that stuff was in process, and I did like appliances and, some of the other things.
Right.
But there was just like, and when we were talking, it was still kind of like going on because now are you about to run me my money back and take
Exactly.
this house? Something else, they take very seriously in Mexico is if you are on somebody's property, they're gonna take you to jail. And so I'm thinking of all of these things. Like technically, I don't own this house. We've got contractual agreements, but my name is not registered with the federal government as the owner of this house. And this is before I knew like what was,
What
like
was
going
going?
on. I'm like, is she
So,
trying to be shady? Go ahead.
yeah, I have a couple questions though.
Yeah.
So, with I guess the first question I had is again the same. Is did she ever disclose to you that the house wasn't really fully hers to sell? Like, did she not know, or did she just not understand the process? And like, because the money was there, it's like, now for me, I feel like, not to say that she wasn't trying to be shady, or she was, but if I was going through some specific program, et cetera, and someone came and said, I want to buy this house, and I know that I'm not legally the owner, I would probably say, well, you know what, here are like the things still, rather than kind of maybe leaving you hanging. And I don't know if she did or not. Did she ever disclose to you like, this house, isn't really mine, and or we don't know who it belongs to, and I'm going through these steps to own it, and then once that's done, then you can buy it from me?
No, but because of the backlog, she didn't have the deed. And so it was in the agreement, that once she receives it, then we'll come back together
Gotcha.
and do, like a process that it's registered for her name, it can be transferred in my name. My attorney started the paperwork, submitted the paperwork for, because again, it was like a 6 month like backlog.
Okay.
So I knew these things. I didn't know that it was like I knew that it was. I found out like during the sale process that it was previously abandoned.
Okay.
There was no mention of like any programs or whatever, but they said, we have done everything we're supposed to do. It's now in the hands of the government. Once she gets the deed, then we can, have the notary come. It'll officially like, because I have to have her deed
Right.
to like send with mine, if that makes sense. So I didn't know all of the details, but both of the notaries said like, okay, well, she's done everything that she was supposed to do. It was just in process. It had been submitted like it was supposed to. She had gone through all the steps in that program, participated with the government, paid different, fees and things like that, some like back taxes and things like that. So everything was, on the up and up. And I honestly think that this is like a, I don't want to say like a freak or one-off things, but it's similar to how I heard people say, if you're going to rent a house, make sure that they own it, right? And make sure you're dealing
Right.
with the owner and you're not like, oh,
Right.
sure, I'm renting this house, but now I'm renting it to you, or I'm renting it to taking deposits from 5, 6 people. And
Right.
because this is not my first home, and honestly, here, there's a lot more hoops to jump through. They make it easy for foreigners, but it's still, you have to jump through a lot of hoops.
Right.
So that's why I say I don't think that she was like trying to be slick or shady.
Right.
If 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 things could, I mean, obviously, if we could go back in time, I would have known. But what she should have ideally done was tell or go to whomever her contact was or who she was working with, or go to that department and say, hey, I want to sell this house. What do I need to do? You know?
Right, right.
Yeah,
And also
because
make sure the process is complete. I mean, you live in Mexico, you're Mexican. You know how y'all react to sometimes, okay? I said
yeah.
it because it's true, because I feel like the biggest challenge when you have to do business in Mexico is that no one gives you straight answers consistently. So you can ask 5 different people, and I've said this many of times because I've experienced, you can ask 5 different people the same question. They could be attorneys doing the same exact type of, law, and you'll get 5 completely different answers that don't even make sense, or they contradict. And so my thing is that even if she did not have mean intentions or greed intentions or whatever, doesn't sound like it, that it would have been better for her to say, you know what, I would love to sell you the house, however, this is how I got the house, I still need to get a deed, because she's an owner, she's a
Yeah.
landowner, she owns stuff, so it's not new to her that the house needs to be deeded to you to be able to buy it, just like it is in the United States. So, just kind of being a little bit more transparent in that regard. And one more question before you go on. When you say abandoned, is it kind of like, no one paid the taxes on it and it was abandoned land, or was it abandoned with the structure? Because it looked like a pretty new house. I don't know if
Yeah, so
they
she had
built
she had
on it.
started working on it. So
Gotcha.
here, which again is very similar to the States, you have a property that's on land. Like the dwelling is there, you're essentially buying the land. And here, so by abandoned, it could be, I have no idea about that particular structure, but it is when they cannot locate any descendants. It just seems, like, God forbid, but just saying, I don't want to use myself. Okay, just say the previous owner like passed away, maybe had no children, or maybe they were in the States. They do things to be able to try to locate the
Gotcha.
like who would
Original people.
inherit this
Right.
property. Yeah, and she had done a lot of work on that home. But again, when the money starts running out, and then also something else too is a lot of these homes, as you know, have been in the family for generations. And a lot of people here own their homes flat out. Like
Outright.
I
Yep.
took a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, to be able to purchase the home here. I believe that they're just now starting to kind of introduce the concept of mortgages, or it's becoming more popular. I don't know. I don't, want to say that it's like a new thing, but it's becoming more popular.
Right.
I've seen it advertised. But a lot of times when I tell people like how I, like took a HELOC, home equity line of credit, I said, yeah, I have to pay that back. I took a loan, and they're like, like it's tough
Right.
to understand because people own their homes And even if you're renting from someone who that home has most likely been in the family for generations. And yeah, the
Right.
house was just like the stone structure. And a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
things were, the fascia was new, obviously all of the foliage and all of the marble and all those
It's
things. But it was,
beautiful.
yeah,
I've
it was
seen
the
it. It's a beautiful house.
original. Thank you. It'll be mine at least for until next July, because we'll get to
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Mama's getting her money back, okay? Anyway, so
Yay.
so oh, go ahead. Were you gonna ask something?
No, no. I will comment on the mortgage aspect. So yes, you can. And I kind of recently learned this, talking to someone last week during my relocation tour that was doing a presentation about immigration services and things like that. But they were telling me that you can get a mortgage here and how to. So
Nice. Okay.
a little different. Since we're talking about it, from what she said was your deposit probably needs to be about 50% of the cost of the house. So it's not like the US where it's 20% and then you finance 80%. It's about 50% down, which, depending on the cost, could be a lot. And I don't know what the terms are, like if it's 10 years, 15, 20 years, or whatever. I know in the US it's kind of 20 or 30 years on average. But you can get a mortgage from a bank if you bank with them. I think if you also have a permanent residency in Mexico, and you can also get them to finance the home for you, and you pay the bank just like you do in the US, but you go to your bank that you've been banking with for whatever their requirements are, and they will kind of evaluate like how much are you putting in every month, just so they kind of see, like you've got funds, you've been putting in X amount every single month for 1 year, 2 years, or whatever. So it's like you building credit in Mexico basically, and you finance it through them. That way, the interest is really, really high. I want to say it's like 11 or 12%, maybe. It could be even more, could
Yeah.
be more. So not only do you have to put 50% down, but the interest is
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
high. So
Yeah,
just
that's why it's
FYI.
probably best to just pay in cash, or like,
And
in
it's
my case, cash, but like not to,
right.
yeah. That's a
Well,
lot.
it
Yeah.
it is a lot, and it's also best to me to buy land and build a house. It's definitely less expensive, and you can build it according to your budget. Meaning, just like they do here, people build a little bit, they get the money, they made the money, they finish, they build some more, whatever. Now, clearly, we don't want to live in a house with no windows and doors, but but to build here is definitely less expensive. The materials, labor, and all the stuff. You definitely want to make sure you have somebody reputable. If you're building something really nice and fancy, clearly you can afford it. So that's a whole different thing. But if you're just kind of like, I have, $100,000. I want to spend, 20 or 30 buying my land and my property, and then I want to take my time and build, a smaller home, or maybe even multiple homes that are tiny, and then expand on that and keep building on it. I think that's your better deal. So continue, my dear. And
Okay.
I'll get to the questions in a moment, folks.
No problem. Okay. So now the attorneys are involved again. Hers, mine in Mexico City, mine in Las Vegas, hers in San Antonio, Texas. Like, okay, so just when I talk about and do honest pointing, just be like cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Right,
Now keep in
exactly.
mind, I was I was hysterical. And I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much to Danielle, Danielle Simmons,
Yes.
because, and this is the great part about being here, real quick. Let me just pull over on the side of the road real quick. I have experienced healing, and I have experienced community, and I've experienced meeting, like making new friends, and, maybe being like close, and then, you're not as close, but you still, it's like building a community. And I've not had one of those in a very, very long time, since like the 80s, 80s, 90s, since I was,
Yeah.
like a kid, a teenager. And so we were supposed to go to a dance class, and I think maybe I told her like I couldn't, and I was just like frazzled or something. Like when I left a message, or like I don't know if I sent it in WhatsApp, what have you. And she called me back and she didn't know what happened or whatever, but she just said, "Oh my goodness, like, I'm just gonna say a prayer for you." And she left it in like the voice memo. So I listened to that and I was like, so then I left her.
Oh my
I left
gosh.
I left her one like, "Thank you." It's
Oh
okay. Like I
no.
was like, because to me, I've worked extremely hard to get where I am. There have been people who have helped me. There have been, things along the way that have happened, but I've worked so hard. I was a teen mother, pregnant at 16, had him at 17, was in college at 18, was in school
Right.
for almost a decade full time, baseball mom, all this stuff. I got put out the house, like because I had him from a very like religious household. Just, I have
All
done
things.
so much. So again, thinking about like, I have this home. Like, this is my home. Even though I've had other homes, I still have homes in the States that I own. But like, I have this home and it's in Mexico. And like, good for you. And look what you've done. And to even in that moment, because the attorney said, like, "Hey, I just found out something. Can you talk?" I talked. It was like I was on the phone with him when I was supposed to be going to Tara's, dance class, meeting everybody or whatever. And so he's telling me like, "Hey, this is what I found out, but I'll let you know." Like his accent was, it was just like everything, the room just started spinning. And like, I'm like, maybe it's lost in, I mean, he spoke English, but I'm like, maybe, like maybe I'm hearing. And then, and you know how it is if someone tells you something and then they can't elaborate and give you any more details. So my mind is just like, did I just lose all of this money? Did I get
Right.
scammed? Like, are they going to send the police to come and get me? What if I get arrested? Just, and then thinking like, and I'll be honest, I was about to say a moment, for a minute, I was also like, I was questioning my decisions. Should you not have come here?
Right.
Like, was this too fat? Was this, what, just doing a lot of like negative self-talk in that moment. So that's why I say I'm so grateful for the people that I've met here, the high 90th percentile through
Right.
Casa Elm or some of the events or coming to your house or whatever. That in that moment, because again, I'm here by myself.
Right.
I don't have a husband. I don't have, I have a family. My son, like I told you, that man will be 30, what, next
Right.
Monday?
Wow.
Like, wait a minute, the Monday after next.
Crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's like, I'm here by myself. And even like, and Danielle didn't know all the details. I was just like hyperventilating. But even in that, there were people that she mentioned to, like I believe it was Lena. They were at class together, and then getting hit up from her, like, "Are you okay?" And not
Yeah.
like, "Ooh, what happened? Are you okay? Tell me the
Right.
details." It's like, look, you don't have to tell me. I don't know what's going on. They were like, "Do we need to come over?" Oh my God, hold on.
Aw.
Yeah. And
I
here's the
get it.
thing, I'm not getting emotional about like all that happened, but to have been on my own for so long, not being able to depend on people that are not going to throw something back up in my face, being so guarded for all of my adult
Right.
life and being vulnerable enough to when I come here, I'm like, I'm gonna grow, I'm gonna do more work, and to see it pay off in a way that I never would have imagined. To
Right.
have like a community of people that I know care about me. Doesn't matter if we don't talk for 6 months or whatever, because again, I've been here over a year now. And so, I'm getting out and meeting people and things,
Right.
but that is what a community does. Like, we don't care about all that other stuff. What do you need? how can we
Right,
help? Is there
right,
anything that we can do?
right.
So that's the part that just made, because I have not had that. I've never had that. Like not only with like the black community, but also with a community of black women. So that's that. Okay, bring it back. Okay, so okay, so the attorneys are involved. Everything's happening. I think when I saw you, we were on a rooftop, and I think you might have been doing a relocation tour. And so I really didn't have, because I remember we had blankets and we were sitting this way. Yeah, I think you were doing a reload tour. Yeah.
Maybe, was that in like, may have been in February?
Yeah, it probably would have been because it was
Okay.
after, yeah, it had been several
Was when
months
I
since it
came
happened.
back. I just remember the first kind of like hearing about it because I was gone from like
Yeah.
the
Oh, that's
beginning of
right. Yeah, yeah,
December
yeah.
to the end of January. And when I saw you, because I was bringing food and you were, I forget, I think Mona Lisa was at your place and I was like, we were outside and you were kind of like, oh my God, Michelle, blah, 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 blah. You were telling me, but it really wasn't like you said, it was like for the same. It was like I could tell you were very distressed and it wasn't the time to be like, okay,
Yeah,
tell me
like,
all
oh,
about the
do tell.
problems. Yeah, it
Dime,
was just kind of,
dime.
it sounded like you were kind of coming to like a resolution, not a
Yeah,
resolution,
yeah,
but you had like some solutions.
yeah,
And yeah, and we're standing outside on the sidewalk, so
yeah.
it wasn't the space for it. And then
Probably
I
under the
left
little
it.
awning. Step out of the
Yeah,
sun.
I
Yeah,
know.
so what ultimately ended up happening is she is buying back the property from me. She is
Okay.
also has to pay all of the legal fees off rip. So the legal fees to negotiate the sale of the house, any legal fees in, like I said, my attorneys are in right outside of Vegas, Henderson, Nevada. Anything that was from Jorge in Mexico, my attorney in Mexico City, like all of that. Because again, you didn't pay the capital gains tax. So what now? Like, so,
Yeah.
like, and you know, she has been making the payments. It was an inconvenience. However, it ended up working out because my house is worth more with me out of it. Like
Okay.
the payment that I get for rent every month is like more than double my
Oh,
HELOC payment.
okay.
So I'm able to knock this out, and then I'm gonna have, you know, a nice little chunk of change once I get reimbursed for the attorney fees and things like that, like when all is said and done.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so
Okay.
next year, the house will, or sooner, but next year the house is slated to be paid off, and then we will like, here you go. I will like relinquish any claim to the home, any of that.
Okay.
So yeah, and the agreement was to just, like she still continued the process that she had to do. Mine is not, it'll be done here maybe, I don't know, a few months or whatever. But yeah, so she's buying the house back. I was
Okay.
able to get tenants in there.
And they
I
were
brought,
okay with that.
oh yeah, 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 yeah. They didn't care. That house is like
Well, that's how
something
it
else.
started,
Yeah, yeah,
was
yeah.
with
Oh,
it being for rent. So,
yes. Well, that's different because I'm not like selling it to them.
no,
Yeah,
I
I'm
know,
renting it
but
to them.
meaning like you were, right, you started at that, so there wasn't an issue even with that. I think for me, it's again, her
Oh, I
not
see what you're
being
saying.
transparent
Yeah.
because that's how, because I remember when you saw it, it was like, you're like, oh, this house is for rent, I really like it, da, da. So I didn't know about all the stuff in between. I just remembered like the beginning aspect of it, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And they are aware because I don't play those reindeer games. Like I told them like, hey, I didn't give them, like let me tell you, way
right.
back and no. So I just told them like, hey, like, this is my residence. There's some things it's still in process with the government, blah blah blah. They're like, okay, yeah, they're Canadians. They're like, okay, so you want us to pay you 6 months in advance, like they don't. And again, think like there is bureaucratic red tape pretty much with any government. And it's funny because when I was sitting to get my residency renewed, I'm sitting there in the government building, right? They've got the counters. I'm like, I could be at a government building in any place USA. They had, the security guard who, I don't know what she was securing, right? The red lipstick, the earrings, the like, Liz Claiborne perfume or whatever, the ponytail with the bun, right?
Not Liz Claiborne.
Yeah, like, she was older, like, okay, hello, it was in Spanish, but it's the same equivalent to me, like, how you doing? Okay, you can just go on, sit over there. Okay, go on, yeah. And I'm
Right.
like, this could be
Anywhere in the
anywhere. Like
US.
yeah, it's the government and things move slower. I guess the added difficulty or what have you is the fact that it is a different country. The consumer protection rights in some areas are like non-existent, or it would take forever and forever and forever. So that's why I'm saying I'm really glad that it didn't turn ugly. It didn't like there was no shenanigans or anything. It was just a matter of negotiating the terms and run me back my money. But yeah, it wasn't easy. And again, if this would have happened in the States, just say, somehow, right? Because there are some people who they buy houses and then they turn around and have the closing for someone else to buy them. I forget what it's called, but it's like basically flipping. You can flip a house for a
Right.
profit and you don't even, it's all happening at the same time.
Right.
So I'm not saying that this couldn't have happened in the States. It would have been a lot, I think like, rarer for it to happen just because of
Right.
how things are outlined and how they're set up. But things worked out and I'm very like grateful for that. Again, I'm getting every single dollar that I invested in. I'm paying down like my HELOC because there's two payments there and then I would, make two payments a month. So essentially there's like four payments being
Right.
paid down. Like I don't want to have this hanging over my head and
Right.
things worked out. Yeah. So
Right, right. I'm glad it worked out. Definitely sounds for sure, in the moment, I can only imagine, how stressful that can be. Yeah, like I just like talk about Mexico, like, and it feels heavier all the time because, again, it is different here, the language, the understanding, and even with having, luckily in your case, you had attorneys kind of lined up that could really go, head on with the situation. So I'm happy that you had that know-how, and I hope that anyone watching this video, if you are intending to buy or purchase or whatever, especially El Ejido land, make sure like, you have the right people in place and not, kind of fall prey to the happy, smiley face person. Oh yeah, no problem. Da, da, da. I have several friends that have been through real estate challenges and stuff like that. And it's just not cool, because as you said, this is your money. You work really hard for it. And, no one, not no one, but typically you don't just have money to throw around and waste on things and yeah, problems. So I'm really glad that you had that in place. And that it seemingly worked out because I wasn't really sure what happened
yeah. Well, I mean,
afterwards.
when I saw you, things were kind of in flux, because they were going back and forth, the attorneys, and then she needed extensions to just, which I get, like to before they come back with the decision, once things,
Right.
like what would the timeline be for repayment? I was not willing to do more than 2 years. Like, that's not my problem. Figure it out.
Right.
Like, I don't know what you did with that money. It's not my business, but I'm not going past 2 years. They were trying to do, 3, 4, 5, just things like that. Things that happen during contract negotiations. And I'm very, very grateful to have for, like my legal and regulatory business side, that I have attorneys who have things all buttoned up. And I just use them for the research that needed to be done. They had a contact, that's who, Jorge in Mexico City, he came from them and it was really handled. But it's almost like add this to the list for those, and I do not want to, to kind of piggyback off what you were saying. Oh, why was that corporate speak? To piggyback off Michelle. But yeah,
Circle back.
yeah, let's circle back, okay? Let's set a meeting to talk about the meeting. No,
Right.
but all jokes aside, I don't want it to discourage anyone.
Right.
Again, do your research, have things set up. I do believe that this was just kind of something that was more of a fluke than anything. And just know now, if you are interested in purchasing a home, if you're interested in renting a house, make sure that you're purchasing or renting the house from they actually own the home. Personally,
Right.
I like to use realtors, which is who I used for this house, that like my condo here,
Right.
because they work directly with the owners. So they have done most of them, like mine. She like she doesn't take just willy-nilly clients, and she makes sure that all of those things were presented. And because of course I came at her with like all the questions, and
Everything.
also yeah, and also she went back to the land. She's like, okay, I understand. She went back to my landlord here, and he presented proof. But you don't know these things until you know them. And the
Right.
great part about the world that we live in at this time is that there are people like you doing these series. You can come on YouTube, you can hear other people's perspectives. But that is something that I encourage people to do, period.
Right.
And also think about like where things are located. I like to walk, but I didn't realize how far down I'm like, Grail heaven, okay? Because we're in the mountains. Like,
Right.
the
That's right.
the menopausa's jumping up on me. I'm getting like, oh my God, I can't breathe, all type of stuff. So, but even in that, like, I had planned to get a car. But I'm like, well, I don't even know if I'm gonna be singing in this house. I didn't, a lot of things were up in the air.
Right.
But even just put a little bit more thought, do a little
Yeah.
bit more research, ask more questions.
Yeah.
Because if they feel some type of way about answering questions, and there's your sign. You are exchanging money. It doesn't matter if you're looking to get a new apartment,
Right.
in the States. You are exchanging money, they should be answering your questions.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I don't want to discourage anyone. And I'm sure that people, if they've had any, like you said, some real estate struggles or nightmares, and things like that can happen in the States. Like I said, I've owned upwards of, well, I'm getting towards 15 homes since I was 19. So there's certain things that can happen, but
Right.
I just did not expect this to happen,
Right.
because there's no deed. At signing, there's a deed, you know,
Right, right.
or
And I
like
mean, you
there's
wouldn't
the,
know
yeah,
that. I mean, if someone says, renting the house, selling the house, and you start working with attorneys and you exchange money and all that other stuff, you just kind of even maybe assuming that the attorneys and everyone's doing their job to kind of make sure that your money is protected and then that they're getting paid to do their job.
yeah,
So, yeah, it could have just been all a timing thing as well. Maybe a year from now, everything would have been all settled, and if you came in then, it would have been perfectly fine,
yeah,
So, yeah, but for me, it's still the whole transparency thing. I still
yeah,
really feel like she could have said whatever, regardless of whether, yeah, it just to me, it's just kind of like, if you can't actually legally hand it over to someone, like you should not be receiving any pennies or pesos for that space.
yeah.
Again,
No, I
yeah,
agree.
she did her program and maybe she didn't fully understand it either. Like I said, it sounds very interesting because I didn't even know that programs like that existed here, but it makes sense. Of course, there are going to be properties, lots, and land, especially
Yeah.
here in Los Frailes. I see a lot of land and that looks pretty abandoned or just it's been sitting there and there's no sign, there's no fence around it. It's just sitting there overgrown and no one cuts. But in the end, I'm really happy that it worked out because I feel like anything to do with renting, of course, buying is even more serious than renting. Girl, we're just gonna put some good energy on this.
Yes,
But
yes.
buying is, renting is kind of like, you can kind of be like, all right, I'm walking away from this scenario, and maybe I lost a couple $1,000s,
Yeah.
which, could be a lot for a lot of people, a lot of folks, especially if they're on fixed incomes and stuff like that. But it can really take a toll on your experience as a new person, new foreigner, new immigrant, new expat, whatever word you want to use, moving to a new country or moving to Mexico. And I'm glad that it kind of balanced itself out for you, because we love you here. We don't want, I'm glad that you're kind of over maybe the bigger part of the hump where you're
Yeah.
enjoying and doing your thing, which is what you moved here for, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of right at the beginning of your kind of new to San Miguel, living in San Miguel. So
Yeah, it was a few months like after I moved here.
yeah, I know you had your party, your
Yeah.
housewarming. We came over, we jammed with the fake DJ
Oh, I got to do
the fake DJ.
with the
Okay, so we'll
cassette
give you,
tapes.
listen, we'll give you guys the backstory, and then I'll get to some of your questions. But so she had a beautiful housewarming, and I have to just say it was a beautiful house, very modern for those who may have seen it online if you follow Apryl. But it's really a beautiful home. You kind of walked in, nice swimming pool. Just everything was very immaculate, very new, very modern, and all the things. And so, how did this DJ even come? I think he did an event. I know. Let's make it short.
Okay.
So this gentleman was referred, as, he used to play for whomever, Herbie Hancock. And
Don't do that.
wasn't it
No.
Herbie Hancock? Was it? Yeah, he DJ for her. Okay, whatever, doesn't matter. So, we got relics over here talking about their past, even, okay, whatever. So anyway, it was kind of crazy because we get there, of course he's playing some good music, and he is with I don't even know what he had.
I don't know what was happening
setup,
because he was
but-
over there dancing, bumping, grinding, drinking liquor. Sir, what's going on here?
Yeah, so she has her beautiful housewarming. Chef Jackie cooked amazing. Oh my God, her
Yes.
dips, her sauces are like to die for.
Yes.
So anyway, right, this guy's DJing. So there were like songs we kept going over because usually you can request songs of a DJ.
Yes, and I sent him a list of songs. Like
And
I
he
need to
played
hear.
none of those. I don't think he
And the
played
one
any.
he did play, it was like, I don't know if his
Yeah.
computer crashed.
He didn't have a computer. That's the point.
I don't know what was happening.
So the whole thing is we realized later in the night, even after we had our drinks, we realized that he didn't actually have a turntable and a computer or anything set up. He was playing a pre-recorded thing. So even when we would ask if he could replay something or kind of, like they can bring it back,
Yeah.
he couldn't do that because it was all like, I don't know, girl. I think he has some 8-track tapes.
They said he had cassettes. I
Cassettes.
was like, no, he didn't. They were like, no, for real.
Yeah, we
Like I
saw it.
said.
Remember, we saw. Okay, enough about
I
the
didn't see
DJ.
it. I refused. I'm like, I can't do it. But it was
Aside
very
from that, we
nice.
had
Yeah.
fun. We had
We did
fun.
have
It was
fun.
a really
Yeah.
nice get together.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
really well done and really pretty. And yeah, so yeah, just kind of having that and then having like the stress behind it, I can only imagine. So
Yeah.
kudos for you for one, sticking it out, having your attorneys lined up, for sharing and being vulnerable. And, I'm glad that you had the community here to support you when you really needed it, in this regard. And I know exactly what you're saying because we all are rolling in those circles. And I think that the people you mentioned and other people that, I talk about, we are here for each other. We have
Yeah.
that conversation often. And I think too, like many of us, we never really experienced that before. Maybe when we were in high school
Yeah.
or 10 years old, but to have it at this age with people that we maybe recently met and really feel like that real genuine support, that real genuine love, that real genuine concern is really special. So
Yeah,
I'm glad
I
that was there for you. Yeah.
Okay, so do you want me to talk about my renting experience?
Yeah, I want you to tell me about the renting experience, but before we do that, I'm gonna go to
Okay,
A
get
couple,
some
because I didn't really
get
get to
some
any of the
questions.
questions,
Yeah,
right?
I'm about to take a
So,
drink.
yeah, girl, I already finished mine. Welcome again to Yvette. She says, so the owner invested a lot of money to build the structure before she was officially the owner. Yes. We don't really have answers to that, but I think, again, in alignment with what you said, that she didn't necessarily maybe she didn't have ill intent. She probably really was going to just rent, right?
Well, she
And
was in the
until
program, so
right,
she had the authority. Like it
right,
was,
to
yeah,
do
to do it.
things,
Yeah,
right. But she
yeah,
probably didn't, she wasn't there legally to sell. So had she just continued renting to you, I think it would have been fine
yeah.
until she got
Because she
everything
would have
straightened
received the
out.
deed by
Right,
then. Yeah,
eventually, exactly.
yeah.
Lisa Love, hi, welcome again. She says, I remember her saying it's very high interest rate as well when it's financed versus paying in full. Yes, yes, absolutely. It's very high here in Mexico, and it's not a very common thing. I feel like that's more of like a, United States thing. Because I even remember being in Europe, and that wasn't a very common thing for people to finance property through a bank, and if they did, it was very expensive. Welcome to AJ's Whispers. She said, good evening. Michelle from Ingenuity just said, do they not set up the property sales there for foreigners via a fideicomiso or bank trust? The bank would show then a clear depth and proof of ownership of the property ahead of the sale.
So essentially, my sale was done in the United States,
Okay,
and then we came here and did
gotcha,
like I said, once she got the deed, we would have had to come back together and like
gotcha.
meet again to officially hand things over. But yeah, like
Okay,
we had a legal and binding deed in place, like, an agreement and things in the United
gotcha.
States. And I made sure all money changed hands in the States. Wells Fargo,
Okay,
San Antonio,
okay,
Texas. Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah,
That's something new. I mean, new meaning to learn, something
yeah.
to know. That makes sense. That's good that you did that. So you
Yeah,
had like a lot
because
of,
there was no deed. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. If it takes 6 months, that's fine. Because they were saying it
gotcha.
was like, that backlog.
Right.
But I had always intended to do everything stateside. Even if she had the deed, all money's changing hands stateside
So
because then I
was it
have the
okay?
advantage.
Okay, so it was okay for her to do the sales stateside, even though she was here in Mexico? Or you just kind of
Yeah,
were
yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
setting it up this way?
Yeah, because
So
again, if I would have sent it to just say her BBVA or Bancomer or something, that can be tracked. So she was
true.
okay with doing it. I didn't know at the time because she didn't want to pay capital gain her capital gains tax. But I'm like, okay, great, because we were going to do it anyway in the States. But she was very
Okay.
like, oh, sure, no problem. So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Cheryl asked if that is the San Miguel office. She took pity on me waiting for hours because I didn't have an appointment and told the ladies to take me next. I guess she's talking about the security
Oh,
person
yeah, like the
that was,
immigration.
yeah. Was that
Yeah.
here in SMA?
Yeah, it was here. The one
Okay.
that's not too far from Bodega. Yeah.
Okay. Diane said, I don't think I've heard of anything like that in the States. Not to say it couldn't happen,
Yeah.
but
That's why I say
yeah.
I can't imagine it happening, but I can never say never, but the likelihood of it happening in the States, no.
Yeah, I
Because
think
there
they're
is like
just
we
different
can't
ways
do
of doing
anything
things.
without like the deed, period.
Right,
And
right,
again, typically the deeds are available here.
right. You can find it.
The
The
yeah.
infrastructure here, I think, in regard to that. So if it's abandoned, who owns it or who owned it? Are they alive? Can we track relatives? All that.
Yeah.
It's definitely probably
Yeah.
like looking for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah. And that's
So
why she
that's
was in the
probably what
program
happened.
and
Right,
doing
right.
her
And the
thing.
program makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I want to know about the program.
Yeah.
Is that a Mexican program or is that an
Yes, it
everybody
is.
program?
No, it's Mexican, yeah. And
Okay,
also,
so,
she had U.S. bank accounts. That's why I said Wells Fargo. I don't bank with Wells Fargo. She had U.S. bank accounts.
Okay,
And she owns
okay.
property in the States as
In
well.
the US too. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Lisa said, okay, that was for, that was direct for Diane. She said, we have the juxtaposition happening in the States with intentional deed fraud.
Uh-oh.
And then Cheryl said, yes, I have a friend in Detroit who was renting to get an option to buy for over a year. And then they got an eviction notice and the owner was not paying the mortgage with the rent payment. So
Yeah.
it does
Yeah.
happen. I
Yeah.
will say one of my experiences in the US was when I first moved to South Florida, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be there. And I decided I would just rent a room, and it was a pretty nice house. So this person, it was like a temporary situation. I think I was just like 3 months until I figure out, because I was moving from Dallas, like, do I want to be here? Do I not want to be here? And they posted, and I was like, okay. The point is this person worked for the company that I think was managing this house and decided to rent the rooms in the house to different people, but we all kind of came at the same time. And I was the only one who did not pay cash. At the time, I got money orders, and that's the only thing that saved probably all of us, because when we decided to debate with the owner who cashed my money order, and I wrote on there the address for what it was for, how many months, and how much, et cetera, et cetera. Again, this is like a very long time ago. And when we went to have like this whole meeting and all this stuff, I was like, well, I'll move out, but you got to give me my money back, and the other people paid cash. And so the point is just having like that traceable thing. So in the end,
Trail.
all of us were able to get it back, because I remember the person who was kind of like having a confrontation with us, she was the owner. She's like, well, he wasn't supposed to do ABC. And I said, yeah, but you cashed the money order because it has your name on it and it shows that you signed it. And if it wasn't a place that wasn't available for rent, then you shouldn't have taken my money. You should have inquired, because after the fact, she was like, oh, I didn't know that these people were in my house. So these things do happen in the United States too. And this person was renting space that he wasn't supposed to, whatever. So, Iona said, very gracious of you to share your experience so that we can be more informed. And thank you. Yes. So tell me about the rent thing.
Okay, so we don't need to go through everything, but let me tell you the three main things that have me like, yeah. Like I was telling you, I don't want to move again. However, this is not like sustainable. So the first thing is, this is brand new construction. It's made to look old, and I love it. It's like traditional meets like modern, like Mexican, European. It has like a very European thing going on. Beautiful. Iona can testify because she's been here, but it's like a huge courtyard in the middle, 360 like roof. There's a pergola and a barbecue and seats and stuff on the roof. It's just beautiful. Like you can watch fireworks. It's amazing here. And I moved here because I had tenants that were moving in to the Fridays house, to the big houses, I call it. So I moved here February 27th, I believe. They were still finishing up things. I was the only person living here. There's 5 units total. The owner owns the whole bottom. And then there's 1, 2, 1, 2 on the second and third floors. So because it's new construction, I know these things, water was coming in. Like they have these beautiful windows. You can probably see them.
Yes.
I have 4 or 5 terraces. I was trying to count like before I came in. Just all of this, just beauty, beauty, beauty. But it would take on water when it would like rain. And I mean like take on water, like vroom, coming in. So they kept having to come back, see how things come back. And the kitchen window still like has its own issues. So that was like the first thing, like, ugh, just again, but working the kinks out. The windows are pretty. They're more for, fashion, not function, right? So
Right.
got the windows together for the most part. Think I mentioned, oh, I didn't mention it to them. So for those of you who do know, don't know, I'm a voice actor. And so I do a lot of recording and I need things to be quiet. And then I also, like I said, have a completely different couple of businesses, but just on the regulatory legal side. So, but I need to have quiet to at least have meetings with potential clients, existing clients, and I mean for both like businesses, all of my businesses, but definitely if I'm on the call with my agent or if I'm on the call with, like a company, I don't need to have a bunch of noise. And the realtor knew that. So she was like, oh, very quiet. The street is quiet. It's really close to Central. As a matter of
Okay.
fact, I walked from, what is it, Maroulier?
Maria.
I went to Hotel Real to go get money from the ATM. Then I was like, well, let me just walk to, like the cafe or
Maria.
whatever. And I said, well, let me just walk a little bit. Before I knew it, I was home. It took me like, I don't know, 20 minutes to walk home. So I'm very
Nice.
like close to Centro, which I wanted to be because I spend a lot of time outside of Frolics. And as you know, unless you have a driver, the Ubers are gonna act funny. It takes
Right.
forever. Like sometimes I forget. I have to be like ready to put my shoes on, come downstairs when I order Uber here. Sometimes they're like, such and such has arrived, and I'm like, I just
You're like, I
like
just
because there'll
ordered
be
two
like a
seconds.
street or something over, right? So
Yeah.
beautiful place, met all of my like criteria. I'm staring at my like 12 burner stove over here. It's just just adorable place. So there was a water. It's been a live construction zone still, and I told you I moved in here February 27th. I was the only one here for a few months. It was, it's not like people work 24/7. So it was like it was
Right.
great, like I would just record in the evening, whatever. People started moving in, even though they told me that there was going to be no pets, which again is really important to me because I need extreme quiet when I'm recording. My mics pick up
Everything.
everything. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, okay, so a dog moved in right above, just yip yipping and yapping. And his nerves are bad. That sweet baby has some bad nerves. And so now it's gone to even if I'm up at like 2 in the morning trying, because I just kept moving, pushing back, pushing back. Okay, well, maybe if I do something at 2, he'll be asleep, whatever. Like he's up there now. I hear him because he can
I
hear.
think I heard him barking earlier.
You probably did. He can
Yeah.
hear us, so he's doing this like tick 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 like,
Oh.
and as I mentioned to you, I'm just not meant to live with other people. I'm not
You need a
like
yard around you.
yeah. I need quiet, and it's not even outside because that's what I was telling the realtor. She was like, "Well, you'll hear this too. It's Mexico. Don't." Mm-mm. I didn't
Yeah.
say that I have a problem with the dogs outside. Did I? No.
No.
They live outside. That's where they live. I'm talking about you told me. And if she would have told me that pets would have been allowed, then
You
okay.
would have,
But
at least you would know, again, full
right,
disclosure and
I could make a conscious
transparency.
decision.
Right.
Or if they would have been like, well, only cats or something, then I would have been
Right.
fine with that. And I understand, I was only one here for a few months. You need to fill these spots. Most people have pets. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with the fact that there is like a noisy pet here
Right.
because
Right.
it is not his fault, it's not his owner's fault, it is the realtor's fault. Her assistant,
Right.
actually, because she was on vacation in Europe for like a month. The
Okay.
realtor I was working with, so I was working with her assistant, and she's the one who
Right.
told me that. I even had it like recorded, and my realtor was like, "What? Well, why would she say that?" I'm like, "Here's the little snippet. She said it because I have to like just look to see is my furniture going to fit. I was making videos of different things, so I could review it when I got back to the house. But yeah, so this is just not sustainable for me. And
Right.
the last thing was that 2 months ago, I had an almost 5,000 peso water bill. I'm just gonna let you just
What? How's that
Exactly.
even
No es
possible?
imposible. Exactly.
Like,
So,
who are you paying for the whole
exactly.
street?
Exactly.
And you got
And
water coming in too from the rain?
exactly. Like, can we reuse this water? So,
Wait. Do you get your own bill? Like it
yeah, we
has
get
your
our
unit number
yeah.
and
Yep. And so my bill was normally like around 107, 110 pesos.
I
So here is a 200
mean,
something dollar water bill. All
girl,
right. Now,
US
again,
dollars.
yes,
Let's just
exactly.
clarify.
This is the difference in the states in here. And it's something which is why I don't want to move again, but this is kind of like the nail in the proverbial coffin. I told the landlord, like, like lo es imposible. Like this is like 3 years worth of a bill. Why
Yeah.
did it turn out that there was a leak that he was aware of? And he was like, oh, it's fixed now. Because it was coming into, like, the leak was being detected in his place. So let me get this straight. You knew that there was a leak. You fixed the leak. I'm telling you, I'm getting this, like, it must be an error bill. And so no, he's like, no, that's not it. Go to I was about to say SRP. That's electric in Phoenix. Go down to the Spasma or whatever it's called. I went there. They're like, we can send someone out to test. They did the test. Everything's fine. They say, as a matter of fact, your next bill, because I was gone for 2 weeks in the States, your next bill is going to be like 80 something pesos. So I told him, and I'm like, he's like, oh yeah, there's not any more leaks. I said,
So
¿cómo?
he
Like,
kind of told on himself.
right. And so I said, okay. Again, I looked at the federal law because the water program is a federal, like it is illegal. They will not shut your water off. If it's a business, they will. If it's residents, they won't shut it off. So guess what? I'm not paying my water bill, and you can take it out of the deposit that I'm probably gonna lose because I don't know that I can stay here until March. So
Girl,
I'm not paying it.
girl,
So that's what I'm
girl, I
saying.
wouldn't
Like,
pay it either.
yeah,
I would not
if
pay
this
that.
would have
That sounds
happened,
crazy to me because, first of all, that sounds like his responsibility, not just from the
hello.
leak issue, but the bill being that high. Yeah, no.
That
First of
even the
all, I
whole
mean, I have.
building would not have done that. Like, because we have the tenants, not the owner, but us four tenants, we have a group chat. And I was like, look at my bill. And they were like, no. But also my neighbor across the way told me that she noticed that she had an extremely high electric bill. And like they come every other month. And she had told him before the bill came out that she happened to notice that her meter had a blinking red light. It was like making a whine noise, and both of the things were spinning. And she said he basically like ghosted her. He didn't send anyone. And then she said, well, like, look at this high bill. And he just wouldn't talk to her. So that is integrity to me. And
Yeah.
another thing too is he refuses to rent to locals. He will only rent to foreigners. It's me. Obviously, I'm black, white. And he's Mexican.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that does happen here a lot in
Yeah.
San Miguel. I will say that a lot of landlords don't want to rent to locals because they probably already had a bad experience with the local. The locals kind of know how to wheel and deal the system. It's a much longer, harder process to get people out of your property. It takes a lot of time. It may even potentially take years to
Whoa.
kick someone out of your place. And I'll give an example. The neighbor, remember David? Well, yeah, you know David
Yeah.
because he did okay, we won't get into
Who
dating
messed up?
David,
Okay, go ahead.
but we won't get into dating with David. But what I will say is that, what I will say is that I thought he owned that place next door. I didn't realize he was a renter. And then one day I came, and he was out on the sidewalk sitting with his dog and his wife, and they meaning the police were here, and a bunch of guys were literally moving all this stuff and just putting it on the side. Like, they don't even care where they put it, just put it on the sidewalk. You're not allowed to enter. But from my understanding, someone told me that it does take a very long time to go through this process. It could take a few years for this to happen. So I think that That's part of the reason. Is, they probably have a bit more faith in the fact that, for not all, because I've heard some foreigners who really,
Yeah.
just whatever, but that foreigners are typically going to pay their rent and take care of the property and la 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 la. So
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
that's probably has been his experience. So that's why when we talked about renting in Mexico several times, but I know that was one of the things I said was that the landlords are sometimes a little lenient, more lenient. They're definitely gonna be like happier to get you as a tenant. They might be a little more lenient in terms of you don't have to have all the things. And I'm only speaking for San Miguel, because last week, we talked to Angela and Lamar, and in Querétaro, they had to kind of buy into that insurance and sign papers, and then they have like the IOUs and all that other stuff. So I actually had one landlord when I was in Zirandaro who wanted the IOUs as well for all the months that were part of the contract. And every time I paid, I would get, like, I paid it, whatever. So we just never know what they've been through, right?
yeah. I mean, and it's people. Like people are not that. The more that I travel, I see that people are people.
Yeah,
The language may be different. The appearance may be different. You're in a different, location, but there
people are
are
people.
good and bad eggs everywhere,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah, so that's why I say it did not discourage me. Even this with like the bill, that's fine. That when I found out I didn't have to pay the bill, and I will leave when I leave. Like I paid first, last, and the deposit. So I'm gonna let
Girl,
you
you're
know this
good.
will be my last month, and then I will move out when I'm ready.
Yeah,
Probably like the
that's
middle
it.
of the next month. Like, miss me with that. No, I'm not. And the right thing to do, because again, I'm a landlord. The right
Right.
thing to do is, this is not my house. It doesn't say in the lease like the first whatever. I was about to say first $500 or 250, or if it's wear and tear, if it's whatever. Nope, it didn't say that. This is not my house. So if there is a
Right.
leak, where is your integrity? So him not wanting to even acknowledge, he should have just took the L, or even if he was like, okay, well, you can deduct it from the rent, or I'll pay for half. Like he just told on himself and ghosted me when I called him out for it. So
And he lives in the
even,
building.
yeah, like, so no, okay, that's fine, because I'm not, like, you're losing my money every month over, for 4,800 pesos. Okay, if that's what you want, like, yeah. But again, that could be any place.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah,
you can, like you said, the integrity, that's
yeah.
big. And we talked about that, last week, just like how much is written into contracts. Not that you don't have that, but just, it's just a different beast. I feel
Yeah.
like they either care or they just don't. They either care, and when I say they care, meaning they care about the property and the presentation and things not being broken and damaged or water damage. I fortunately have not had really any bad landlords, and I talked about that last week where I had my very first landlord, because I was concerned about that. My very first landlord in El Secreto, when it started raining into the guest bedroom, literally like it was pouring, pouring, pouring. I just took a video. I did like a pan up and a pan down right to their furniture. And I moved the furniture after, but I was like, your shit's getting damaged.
Right.
So
Get that
I
together.
hope you plan on, yeah, and that's all it took. And I sent it and they were like, oh, and just give the money for the next month's rent to so and they're gonna send somebody, and they fixed it right away. There was no whatever delays. And then when I lived in Zirandaro, I had kind of a guy who I could tell was a little bit more like, and last week we talked about, the first 30 days is when you can complain and say this doesn't work and that doesn't work. And I remember saying to him after the 30 days that something had come up in the place where the light, like however it was constructed, and this is a new construction, the light in that guest bathroom on the first floor was never officially connected. So it's like, it just didn't have the wiring. Yeah. And, I didn't know. I put the bulb in. It wasn't a room I was using, and I forget whatever. And I remember he was like, well, whatever, and you changed the lamp. And I said, no, I did not change anything. All I did was put a cover on it. But it was, because they just have like the exposed
Yeah, yeah.
cables sometimes
The
in the
bulb
bulb.
and the casing,
If
yeah.
you even get a bulb, it's like
Yeah.
the cable,
The
right?
socket.
You're
There we
lucky
go.
the socket and the
In the red
wire,
and
that's
black.
it. Exactly, if you even get a bulb. And I said, no, I didn't change anything. All I did was put a light cover on top of it. And it actually, like, the light doesn't work, and he did fix it, but he just was like, I was like, bro, like, it
Right.
costs you $20 to bring a person up in here. And I asked him, I said, do you want me to deduct it from the rent, or do you want to send someone out to fix it? And he wanted to send someone because he didn't trust what I was saying. I was like, okay, go for it. And the guy came and fixed it. Whatever. So you got to be careful. And you also, I think too, as a woman, you have to be kind of even more like direct about things, because honestly, they really kind of sometimes think you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm experiencing a little bit of a leak in the kitchen, and we just don't know what's causing it. And fortunately, when I lived in Florida, I had a property management company, and I worked with a lot of contractors, and I did a lot of learning how to repair houses, drywall, you name it. I was all about it because I like that stuff. And I remember, like, I always felt so powerful with my power drill. I'll be like, I got this. Anyway, I remember just, really having to demand respect from men, especially
Yeah.
because I remember guys, contractors that I was paying them their salaries, and they would be like something or another, sweetheart. I'll be like, listen,
No, hold
that
on.
is not my
Nope.
name.
Right. Let's be
Anyway,
clear. Let's be
here,
clear.
kind of somewhat of the same thing, where, I understand the culture better, so I try not to be very like, but at the same time, I'm questioning things, because I'm just like, well, what you're saying to me doesn't make sense. And so one of the things I told them today is, like, last week's explanation was different today.
Yeah.
And they were like saying whatever they were saying. And I said, no, that's not the issue, because they were like, oh, maybe it's the kitchen sink. I said, it's not the kitchen sink, because we use the sink all the time, but we don't always use, these other areas. And I think it has something to do with those areas, and whatever it is, it's now like progressively getting worse. And so I suggested to them, like, you cut the wood out of this cabinet so we can see what's underneath and what
Right.
side of
Yeah.
the floor is this coming from, etc. So we just kind of have a temporary fix until the weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes
You just
down.
had all the electrics.
Well, that's okay now, thankfully.
Finally. Even though my boo thing.
Girl.
We're
Oh,
gonna
girl,
talk about
please. I
him.
feel like I
Okay.
saw him. I think I saw him somewhere. I
Was
think
he
he was
looking
working next
fine?
door.
Like,
I,
was he?
I don't know. I cut my eyes at him because he didn't actually fix. I was like,
Oh,
I
okay.
did. I gave him the Jamaican kiss teeth. I was like, and I
Yeah.
just
That's
turned
what my
around and
mother used
drove
to say.
off.
Don't kiss your teeth. Don't kiss your teeth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Anyways, let's see. I think there were some comments, and then we can wrap it up, my friend.
Okay.
Let's see. Diane said, Michelle, I so agree, taking a toll on your experience after your planning and excitement to live in your new home country.
Yeah.
And yes, it can. It really can. Someone said they loved Cheryl said, I love your windows and your beams. I do
Oh, thank you.
too.
It is
I think
so
they're cool.
bright up in this piece. Like, I love
I
it.
see it. I see
It's
it.
adorable. It's cute.
I love it.
Yeah,
It
but
looks really cute. I mean, I loved your other house too, which was right around the corner from
yeah.
me.
But you know what? That looked like me, like the Soul House looked like me when I moved there. This house, this neighborhood, like I can go get, because I told you I made my mezcalarita. I just ran literally around the corner. I wasn't even gone for 5 minutes. And that is
Okay.
door to door. Because there's like a little lady at the bottom of her house with the white door. You can get little odds and ends. And I
Oh, I
went in there
love
and got
it.
some oranges because I needed an
Right.
orange to
So you
make
can make your
right. I had the limes, but I
mescalina.
needed the orange.
I love
So
it.
I go to the same florist. They call me, oh, Negrita, hola, negrita. I'm like, hola, like if I want, like I had some chicharrones the other day, like everything is within, walking
Walking
distance. And
distance.
since I've lived here, I explore even more. So now I know more places that are closer. Like I said, I used to go maybe 5 minute walk away, 10 minute total.
Yeah,
But now I just go 5 minute total because she's bottom of the stairs, make a quick left and she's right there. So
yeah.
just,
It's
this
convenient.
place looks like me now. Very, comfortable and confident and familiarizing myself in discovering and having my adventures and just certain things, like there's not a lot of dogs in Frales, right? These dogs over here, they run in but again,
Packs.
yeah, but they're not like mean dogs or anything. People
Yeah,
feed them.
yeah.
Like they're happy to see you. If one starts scrapping here, the rest of them come. Like it's yeah, like here
Dog
feels
fights.
like I live in Mexico. Like
Okay,
I really
okay.
feel like I live in Mexico in this neighborhood. Whereas Frales was a lot like, how I've
A little
been
more.
living. I have a property that's like fenced and gated in,
Right,
So this feels a
right.
lot more like this version of me. That's just let me walk outside my door. I'm just gonna walk and see what,
What's
like
up?
the nail shop where I used to go and get my gel pedicures for like, I don't know, 100 pesos.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm talking about the whole everything, the full Monty, but
Nice.
it's
That's
like a
like
little hood spot.
$6.
Yes, I mean it's a little hood spot. Yes, so I call her Marquisha. So her name, I
All right, not a
yeah,
Marquisha.
her name is Marisol. So I
Oh, I
say
know
yeah,
Marisol.
Marisol is great. So
Wait, is
I
it Marisol or Maribel?
wait a minute with the blonde hair. And
Yes,
she be wearing her
yeah.
fajas with the BBA? Yes.
Girl,
Okay.
yes.
So
Jaja.
she will be in there boosting weave, shoes, stuff from Ross Dress for Less with the like just all type of stuff. Doing people's hair. Like, hold on, let me do this person's eyelashes real quick. Doing face. I mean, like that's why I say I call her Marquisha because it reminds me like you go down the way and your
Right.
appointment is at
Like the black
noon.
shot.
Yeah, and she will eat. She will show up late and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I gotta go eat breakfast." It's like, "Ma'am, it's
Girl,
lunchtime." Right.
listen, listen, I know her and she's been here to Casa Elm way before, like, okay, so her and her husband, and I'm just gonna say their crew, they were managing, and I think they're still there, one of my favorite vineyards.
Ooh, what?
San Jose, Hacienda San
I can't see
Jose.
that, but okay.
Listen, they invited me and Brianna to a New Year's Eve party, and they were like all up in this place. They are running it for whoever the owners are, and I think the owners are like this like famous actress in
Oh
Mexico
wow.
and or singer or something. They have a lot of money, and so they were there living on the property and blah 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 blah. And I think they're still there, but I know that she had yeah. And so Brianna kind of made like good friends with them, and then they invited us to New Year's Eve party, and I think it's around one of their birthdays and stuff like that. They're cool people,
Yeah. Oh,
but
she's
I know
great.
about the shop because it's right next to Oxo on that very
Yeah.
busy,
Well,
busy
she's
street.
moved. So now there's
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh, that's another thing too. I love to go thrifting. And because this is like a neighborhood, most of the people aren't going to the mall. They're going to like the tianguis, Tuesday market, or they're going to
Yep.
these little shops around here
Yeah.
and buy their clothes, buy their shoes, buy everything. So a new spot, like a new, I don't know, pick and pay, like clothing spot moved into there. But
Right.
I discovered it because I just went on a little walkabout. I do that. I
Okay.
just walk and, oh, what is this? Oh, okay. And then I
Yeah,
go,
I know
yeah,
Maribel. Girl, she
yeah.
came here for new was it my Thanksgiving party like 2 years ago. and we had like a DJ, he was playing reggae and all that. We have food, and she loved, that was her first time having oxtails. So thereafter, she was like, please bring oxtails to Brianna, like bring oxtails or whatever. They had not had oxtails in Jamaican food, so it was really, really fun. They're cool. They're cool people. But I have to go ask her. I'll get her number. I need to know
Yeah, I
about
could
those
send it to you. And she's got a
lashes.
new spot in Centro, okay?
Okay, good for her.
I mean, it still looks the same, but it's just a little, a little come up there. She still has, like the plastic foliage. Okay, anyway.
I've
She's,
never been inside her
oh
place,
yeah,
but I know where it
she's
is.
great. And she does good work. Yes, I can go. First of all, if I went to the one at the mall, it's probably like $25 USD after tip. But I'm getting something that would cost me like 125, at the place where I used to go in Phoenix. And then of course, just like if you go down the way, things are cheaper in neighborhoods. So yeah, so
Yeah, this is true.
even though it's like under $10 USD, it's still the equivalent of like $25 or like $40, just something quick. I'm not in there, she's not giving me the whole scrub and all that stuff. And because I keep my feet moisturized, she doesn't have to do
Do too
do all
much.
of that. Yeah, she
I'll
just
have to try
essentially,
her. I'll
yeah,
have to
she's
try her
great.
out. I mean,
And
I
it's
like her
very
because
peaceful
she's
in there, very
okay.
peaceful. Yeah.
Because she's very girly girl. She's like real
Yes.
girly girl. She's like, she comes into a room, it's a whole statement.
And she's so
So
tall between this, the BBL, the stark blonde hair. She's tall, but she
yeah,
is so
she's so
nice.
sweet. Yeah,
Very,
she's
very
very
nice
sweet.
woman.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I did
Okay.
not know she moved. Okay.
Yeah, girl, she
Anyway,
moved to
good to know. You have
Central.
to pass me.
I'll send it to you when we hop on.
Okay, I need lashes. I don't need them all the time. I need them when I go on vacation. I'm always like, I got
Yeah.
my lashes
No, she
done.
does a bit like she will do these if you want. She does
Oh
like
no, I
extremely,
need
no, she'll
natural.
do like extremely natural to just
Yeah,
look like you have mascara on. Like she's
yeah.
very good. She also does Botox. She does
Okay.
filler. Look, she was doing everything in there. She'd be like, okay, one, and I'd be like, okay. And then people come in like, oh, let me do her hair real quick. I'm gonna start. Again, it just reminds me of being like down the way at the Hood Salon where she tell you, be there at 11. She shows up at 1, has to eat, and then be like, oh, I need to take a break. 10
And you're
clients
already
lined
late.
up. Yeah, everyone's supposed to be there at 11.
I
Yeah.
cannot. I
Yeah. But
cannot.
no,
I'm
I only get, she's never had to make me wait. I've been there with like Mona
okay.
Lisa, she'll be there because it literally was down the street. Like it took me like
Okay.
5 minutes to walk there because it's right by the Oxo. So
Okay.
I would go there
Okay.
with her and she'd be like, yeah, I've been here all day. And she would text me like, not her wanting to go get a cold drink from the Oxo, not her doing her daughter's hair, not her blah, blah, blah. So she's getting full set,
Oh my God, that's
lashes, her
hilarious.
eyebrows done,
Yeah.
pedicure. And I'm like, I'm
No,
in and out. Yeah.
no. Maybe I'll do lashes. That's it.
Yeah, no, they're really good. They
Yeah,
look really good.
maybe I'll do that.
She does like mink ones. Okay, I
I don't
don't know
know.
either. I
Because
know they're mink.
I don't really do it often, only if I travel. And the last time I did it at Nail Lounge, I didn't really love it. And I know we're just here talking like we're having a girls
Oh,
chat. We didn't
whoopsie.
forget about y'all.
Whoopsie.
Hey, okay, so um, I just wanted to say really quickly, let's see if I missed anyone. I heard promissory note mentioned, but that was a Facebook post saying don't do this. I think it was no pagares because I need my glasses, girl, because you will have to pay regardless of not necessarily. You don't have to pay. It's just, okay, you'll have to pay regardless of what you encounter with your rental. I will say that my last place, I had a 2-year contract with them, but a year and a half in, I decided that I was going to move here, and I pretty much, it's kind of a case by case. I just want to say that it is good, conduct to kind of have a good relationship with your landlord if possible. Tell them things in advance, don't destroy their property, blah, blah, blah. And I remember I said to mine in particular, I had a not even full 6 months, I think I had 5 months left on my lease, and it was a 2-year lease. And I was like, okay, I've been a good tenant, been paying all this time. And I said to him, I'm moving. I need to move to Los Frailes. At that time, I just felt like it's time for me to be here and not over there, and someone else is here, because the previous, after Brianna, the 2 people after my wonderful Brianna, they were horrible. They were just horrible managing the house. And I was like, all this hard work is gonna go right down the toilet, one flush, and all my hard work is gonna be destroyed because they're not doing a good job. And so I was like, I'm gonna move, and I'm gonna move in and do all the things. And I just communicated with him, and I said, look, I really need to go to where my business is. I need to take care of things, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, and you can keep the security deposit because I'm breaking the lease. And he was fine with that. I said, I'm gonna even hand it back to you, because this is what I did in the US. I'm gonna give it back to you. It's gonna be ready for you to rent it. There's nothing like we painted, we cleaned it, we did all that. And a lot of places here, you don't get that. So I took my time to do all those things.
Well, again, integrity as well.
Yeah, and 2, I just feel like, integrity, karma, and all the things. It's a small town,
Yeah, what's
you
the
never
right
know.
thing to
Maybe
do?
one day I might run into this person again, even though I never actually met him in person. I think he lived in Mexico City. Let's see. Someone said they need to get a pedicure in San Miguel. Yes, indeed. See, I hear my dog barking. Let me just tell my kiddo, dog inside immediately, because I don't go for that. So Lisa said, is there a YouTube channel for April? I just told her Positively Pryl, right? Is that your
Yeah,
channel?
Positively Pryl. Yeah.
Okay, she's got it. And thank you so much, Wendy. She said Michelle's stuff is great. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you all. So it's been a good night. Thank you for sharing all your stories, Hold on, let me just tell my son this, because I have a guest, so I don't want my dogs barking. Sometimes they're like barking because there's a little cat that goes on
that
like the
cat,
ledge
yeah.
outside. Yeah, I hardly ever see it, but sometimes they do their little thing, and I'm not having it. So I don't have like the ongoing barking dog, because I'm like, shut it up
Exactly
right
what your
now.
dog's mind is. I say. They listen to you.
They
You're the boss.
do. They do. They're good dogs, honestly. Good in the sense of noise. They're not noisy at all, I mean, I think if you give them, I can't say, I don't know. I mean, I was gonna say if you give them what they need, they're gonna be pretty chill, but I don't know. I think just like people, they have their personalities.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah. Anyway, thank you, Cheryl. She said this was wonderful. You are so welcome.
Yeah.
All of you are welcome. Thank you all. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget to check out my website, casaelm.com. Please share your details as well, April, if there's something that you want people to know before we log off. Hey, Daphne, how you doing? ¿Cómo estás? Is there anything you want people to know in regard to, like, what you do, your business and stuff like that, your websites? Positively Pryl, Pryl,
YL.
Pryl or April, Pryl. Just replace the I with a Y.
Yeah.
Let us know, like, what you're doing now in terms of the online stuff. I know you're doing a lot of things, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a team over this way, so that's taken care of. But yeah, so I have I guess a new title. It's been a couple months now, but it's a Boundaries and Joy Coach.
I saw that.
Yeah. So long story made short, I created a formula. And this was after years spent being everything to everyone and no one, like to myself, and like nothing to myself. And it's a formula that I actually still use today, and it's boundaries plus balance equals joy. And so the Black women that I work with, like the formula is going to be different for everyone, but I support Black women in embracing their joy with confidence, like setting some healthy boundaries, finding that balance. And then, of course, as she's out there living life and growing and evolving, she will have the muscle memory and the self-assurance to be able to revisit her formula and kind of rework it as needed. So yeah, I have some coaching spots like for one-on-one and group coaching that I have coming up. And if you want to sign up for my email list, Michelle, do you want me to put it in the chat or you have it? Or like my
Yeah,
email
what is
list?
it? What is your email list? Tell me.
Okay, good question. Okay, so it so it is positivelypryl.com /subscribe. Let me make
Hold on,
sure.
positive. I want to make sure I'm spelling it right. Hold on.
Hold on.
I don't think that's right.
Let me send it to
Are
you. My
you,
deeds
yeah, send
file.
it here on Zoom chat and then
Yep,
I
no
can,
problem. I'll do it right now.
okay,
I'll put
cool.
my YouTube channel as well. Yeah, and if you really just want to check me out, or even start even the thought process of what a life could look like where, it's like you're at the center, like me, out here just living life, having new adventures, learning new things, then you can go ahead and check my YouTube channel out and let me post this in here.
Okay.
There you go.
Hold
So
on
yeah,
one second. One second. Okay, hold on, let me get it.
I look extra pale in these yellow lights, huh? Like,
Girl, I
like,
extra,
like
look
this is a
extra
fake
glow.
background. Doesn't it look fake?
Oh, not exactly, not
From like
exactly.
in my window, it looks like one of those
Oh, yeah, like
background.
it could
Yeah,
be a
yeah,
virtual. It could
yeah,
be a virtual. Exactly. No, you look
yeah,
good. You look good. I look pale because, or I look dull because my light wouldn't come back on again. I don't know what
yeah. This
happened.
light is yellow. All the
Yeah,
lights in the house are like yellow lights, and then I think my computer light is kind of washing me out, but that's okay. It's fine.
that's okay. We're here.
Yeah,
They heard
hello.
us. Khadijah said she just subscribed. Yay.
Thank you, Khadijah. I
Uh,
appreciate it.
Well, I'm happy that you're kind of on the brighter side of the
Yes.
situation. I really, really, really appreciate you being honest, candid about what happened. I just think it's really important for people to really, one, take their time, like you said,
Hmm.
get help. Yes, there's the excitement of living and moving abroad. I always say that, but there's also the real, which is shit happens and it happens
Hmm.
here. And it's just harder, I think, when you can't fully understand everything and it's not the way you're used to it being. Sometimes people want to save money. Get like we said last week, Anne-Marie was saying how, she hired an attorney. She's an attorney, but she hired an attorney to go through the contract, talk about the things, and just, kind of P's and Q's as much as you can.
Yeah.
Things are still going to happen. I've shared stuff that has happened with me as well that I didn't know. I
Hmm.
wasn't being cheap. I wasn't trying to save money, cut corners. I just didn't know. And it still ended up costing me money. It was like a lesson that I can pass on to other people. And that's also part of why I do what I do. So it's just really important for us to try to get the help and also, again, understanding psychology behind the challenges. Because if you get here and you don't know yourself well enough to say, oh, well, if this doesn't go quite the way that I expect, can I fight and battle through it? And am I going to make it, or am I going to kind of, leave and regroup and whatever? And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with how you heal and repair
Hmm.
your situations. It's just understanding like where you are. And yes, you do have the community you can fall into and get help if you need it. And sometimes you just need to breathe
Yeah.
in and out and start
Yeah.
over if this is where you really are. Like, you know what? Okay, that shit happened, but I really, really enjoy living in San Miguel. I really want
Yeah.
to give this another try. So I'm glad that you're here and that, because that's big. What happened to you is a huge thing. And it could have thrown a lot of things off. And I'm just glad that you were able to right on
And you
through
know
it.
what? Not one time did I think like, oh, I'm gonna have to go back because it's not like to me, it's not a like a bad thing. Let's just say if I did need to go back to Phoenix for whatever reason and regroup or whatever, like it's not a bad thing. But for me, I'm like that never crossed my mind. Like,
Yeah,
do I need to go back? But also, like, even if I did, it's not bad. Like you said, you have to know yourself,
right.
and really like why like do a little bit of work before you get here. Like get that
That,
self-awareness so that you're not
yes,
running away from something. Because you cannot run yourself, you know. Like it's
right,
you. Not,
right.
you know, this the issue, but just like, and also let me say this. Um, if I could go back in time, or like when I talk to people, I'm like, one thing that I would do different is I probably would have, I don't Airbnb because I had a bad experience, but I would have lived in a couple different areas. Like
Right.
just even, you know, just
Try
get
it
to know the
on.
city better. Like even living here, there's other, no, well, now I know there's other places that I want to
Right,
live. So yeah,
exactly.
yeah, there's no,
Right.
like, no one is, like, there's no, like, pressure here. And again, if you need to break a lease, it's not like it's gonna be on your credit report for what, 7 or 10 years or whatever. Like, you
Yeah.
take a L on some money, and as you were saying, depending on your budget. So we're not trying to like make light of it or act like that it couldn't be a considerable amount, but considering how that goes in the States, it's
Right.
nothing like that here. In some environments,
Right.
if it's time for you to go, you don't, you know, feel whatever, like your time is up there, then you just leave. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I know Anne Marie has said a lot. You know, you're not a tree, so you can move. And
Yeah.
also, I also think, and I say this often in my consultations and even here on the channel, that it's a good idea if you can slow travel, move around, stay in a few weeks here, there, like figure out what neighborhoods you like. You know, you can fall in love with a house, but are you going to love where you are, the
Yeah.
environment
Yeah.
and the neighbors and the things? And do you even know what that it looks like if you've never lived in the city or somewhere
Yeah.
else in Mexico? You kind of, it really is it's a process, learning experience. And as I always say, I'm never trying to be Debbie Downer. I'm always kind of just like, the glitz and glam wears off, and then you're stuck with the reality of some situation. And if you are like your dog is above you, whatever. But imagine a dog on a rooftop in the house that you just
Oh,
paid,
mm-mm. No,
thousands of
ma'am.
pesos for, and then they're like right next door to you, and their place
No,
looks
ma'am.
like the ghetto,
Right.
possibly,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
tires and dogs
Mm-mm.
on the rooftop barking. So it's a
No.
lot of different things that you really can't just walk into a space. You really need to observe what's going on around you. You need to check it
Yeah.
out, and you need to make sure it's a good fit for you before you invest your money, and then later on, you're sad about it. So that's it. We can go on forever. Anyway, I need to go eat my turkey sandwich. I'm
Yes, I
hungry.
have some soup waiting on me, and the rest
Oh,
of, I got
girl, my mom,
a whole half of fill this drink up again.
girl, my mom made Jamaican chicken soup last night. It was so good. It's all gone now. So I ended up ordering from Uber from a place that I've never ordered from. So let's see how it
All
is.
right. Well,
Turkey
fingers
sandwich,
crossed for you.
$15 turkey sandwich. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I
Okay.
think it was
Next slide, please.
New York Deli. They just opened this place called New York Deli. I have never eaten there. I've seen it. It's right in San Antonio,
I've seen it. I've
and
eaten there. They should just call it deli because when
not
you
New
say New
York
York
Deli.
deli, yeah. Okay. No
But
comment.
that's how. Okay, yeah.
Right.
Well, I might like it because I'm hungry.
Okay.
I might have to doctor it.
Hook it up with some stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, my son he's been talking about trying it for a minute, so I just went along with it. He got something, and I said, all right, I'll get this turkey sandwich. So let's see. Anyway, my dear, hugs.
Okay.
I hope I get to see you in person soon.
I know. You
After,
will when I get back.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yes. And I hope everything is just gonna, keep smooth ride into the future. Everything gets situated. Thank you all for being here tonight. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, because I always forget to say that. But I appreciate you, my dear. Thank
Thank
you. I
you.
send you lots of love. Don't hang up a sec.
Okay.
Hold on a sec.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Because it has like that delay on
Then, yeah,
it.
it does have a delay.